welcome back to, I believe, episode 12, yes, of Talkin Badgers. Glad to have everybody back with us. Kind of off a rough weekend against Penn State, like some of us thought correctly. But other than that, boys, how you doing?
We're good. Happy Halloween.
There you go, yeah. I see Jason's dressed as a cute little reindeer with his pumpkin hat on again. Second year in a row for the pumpkin hat. Absolutely love that.
Got to do it for Halloween.
Ryan's dressed like a 40-year-old rooting on Kyler Murray from Miami.
Ryan dressed up as a loser. That's weird.
We're 4-4, so we're not losers. This isn't even my costume. My bus is going to be here in a few minutes.
And I am dressed up like the before pick from Jason's before and after weight loss journey. So, with that, and Dylan, who knows what he's dressed up as? I believe he's in Nairobi doing missionary work. So we'll see how that goes.
Dylan is dressed up as Chris Hodges. Invisible. Still on scholarship.
Might score points too.
All right, boys. Well, let's get into it. We'll kind of talk about the game or this past weekend's game here against Penn State. Unfortunately, not how a lot of Badger fans wanted it to go or thought it would go. Saw a lot of belief on Twitter from the Badger community. I didn't understand it. I was right. I will take my victory lap gladly. Thought we saw some good things, a lot of bad, though, in the 28-13 defeat. Ryan, what are your biggest takeaways from the game this weekend or this past weekend?
My biggest takeaways is if we could just stop the game, like, prematurely, like we get to, like, as soon as we score, game's over, man, we beat Bama, we beat USC, and we beat Penn State. Man, we look good early. If we only played a half, the game this weekend was like the epitome of that meme where it says, you had me in the first half. If you taking the victory lap, I'm just gritting my teeth, and not because the helmet's like 8 sizes too small, but and for a child. But just the idea that we were up and we weren't playing that well, and then just shit down our leg in the second half was just embarrassing. And especially the Penn State, like, they won. Congratulations. Like, I still stand by they're very entitled fan base. Like, some of the trolls that are just circling back, it's like, you say you're above it, but you're not. So it's like, kind of prove my point. But yeah, I thought the boys could get it done. They look good in the first half, and then just like Badgers of every year, they are up and sit down their leg in the second half.
It's the same old thing, and that's why it's like, as much as I want to believe, and they did have me in the first half. I was watching the game with my old man, as I usually do. It's like, man, we play like this the rest of the game, we're going to beat Penn State. Like, I was about to be all the way back. And then the second half started, and it's classic Badgers. It's like the basketball team. It's like, I know that at some point in the game, we're about to go 4 minutes without scoring, no matter who the head coach is, no matter what offense we play. And same with this football team right now. It's like, I just know we're going to do something dumb in the second half to completely ruin this game. But
my thing about the second half is it doesn't seem like we really make any adjustments.
None.
And, like, obviously we weren't game planning for Penn State's backup quarterback, but, like, he came in.
He killed it.
They were significantly better with that quarterback.
Yes.
They also did a lot of different things that they weren't doing with Drew Aller. Like, in Tressel in the defense did not do anything to adjust from that. And then on the other side, like, Longo had success in the first half, or like somewhat had success. They played well. And then, like, the second that Locke threw that pick, which was just maybe the worst pick that I've seen of all time, like, Longo was like, all right, I'm going to go into a shell, and, like, we're not going to attempt to do anything anymore, which is just like, it's
couldn't agree more.
Like, we brought these coaches in to make adjustments. And again, now Ryan likes to say this too. It's been how many games, and we have not seen them change one time. They haven't made one halftime adjustment. It doesn't seem like.
Well, I think a lot of it kind of comes down. I think a lot of it's coming down to this is just kind of who they are. Like, we can be excited about recruiting. We can be excited about this or that or the third. At some level, it's not even in-game coaching. And I look at it like last year when we were coming into the bowl game against LSU, the boys looked really good because they had so much time to plan for almost every scenario. In the first half, they had, whether it's their 10, 15 play script, they're always really good with a week of preparation. Anytime they get hit in the mouth or it doesn't work, they have no answer. They were up big on USC. Well, even if you go back to the Bama game, like, I mean, I know it was 3-0, but like, they had some drives. They were moving the ball. Like even halftime, like, you give up that late touchdown at the half, like on a sick catch, but they got down the field in 3 plays. After that, just absolutely took your ass to the woodshed. You're up 21-10 on USC. Second half, just get throttled. Same thing with Penn State. You got a backup quarterback, and it was literally to the point where against Penn State. And again, I know Penn State fans are going to watch it. Our show, you guys won. It was a great performance by your backup quarterback. I wish our backup quarterback could be half as good. But also, I look at it like, you just don't make any adjustments in the second half. Like as soon as things happen, it's to the point that I was literally like, can Drew Aller please come back and play? I know he's probably going to be a second-round quarterback. Can that guy please come back in? Because this guy is absolutely destroying us. And for a little while, I didn't know if he could throw a forward pass.
I was a few cocktails deep, but I was literally like, if Drew Aller plays the whole game, the Badgers win. Like, so
I'm still on that belief. this Bo Prisbilla or Bro, whatever buddy's name is, like
Bo Paducah or some shit like that.
Dude, he might if Aller's going to the league this year, that might be their starter. That dude can play.
Prabula. Bo.
Yeah, Bo. I said I'm looking at Bo Prabula balled out.
It's like Elvis Gerbach, like not enough vowels, but
yeah,
or maybe too many vowels. But that kid can play, dude.
Well, and two, I mean, okay, say what you want about Aller. Combined, the quarterbacks were 25 for 31, 80% completion percentage, if you're wondering. 246 yards and 2 touchdowns. So pretty good stat, like single stat line, if that's your one quarterback. And like Aller played better than maybe it seemed, because I had that same too. It's like, dude, if Drew Aller stays in this game, like, or he comes back, like, we got a fucking chance. And I think James Franklin knew that too. Like, why would you kill the momentum?
It's such revisionist history too, but it's like the Badgers had a 10-play, 73-yard drive to score with a minute left in the half, a minute 20 left in the half, and then halfway through the third quarter throw a pick six, and the ball game was essentially over.
Over. Yep.
Like
I had the same feel. As soon as that pick six, as soon as that ball hit the defender right in the chest, I got like, you know how you just get those flashbacks to trauma? It was like, oh, that's that Iowa running back running for the game-sealing touchdown. It was like you just knew that was the game. That's the touchdown. Like as soon as Iowa scored that, you knew the game was over. As soon as they got that pick six, game was over. Like I had that impending doom where I'm just like, oh, it's over.
Yeah, it's like one of those air out of the stadium type plays, you know, where everyone there is just like, fuck. Like we had a chance, and then Braden Locke threw literally right up there with like Anthony Richardson of like one of the worst passes I've ever seen in my entire life.
I don't know if it was the pass was as bad as the explanation when he said he saw.
Maybe that's what pisses me off.
That guy was pretty much bracket covered. Like there was nobody open.
So you saw him and you threw it anyway. That's the part where I'd have more questions. Like, so you saw him and you threw it anyway. Like, well, what do we think we were doing here, boss?
Yeah, that's just. Like I said a couple weeks ago, I may have been wrong when I was a believer in Braden Locke. I was wrong, so.
That's what I'm worried about. Is Locke doing enough that he's gonna get just as much of an opportunity next year? Like, or is he the guy next year? Like that. That's what makes me uncomfortable because
if he's the guy, we are in fucking trouble.
I would the guy next year. I'm cool with people getting fired at that point.
Agreed.
Now, if he earns the job, that's on him. Football's a meritocracy. But if we go into the off season and say this is our guy, that's football malpractice.
100% agree. Another thing that concerned me during this game, especially moving forward to this upcoming weekend, like the defense is like, I mean, they're only giving up like 20 points a game or something like that. They've been playing better. I thought they made some plays in this game. They got put in a couple bad positions by the offense, I feel like. But still, we're gave up 5 yards of carry, 173 yards rushing. When our offense, another huge factor, we had 81 total yards rushing. I mean, look, everyone was talking about how the Badgers might be fixed, how well we've been playing the last 3 games. I think a lot more of that had to do with the competition, like a lot of us were saying. because we were running the ball all over, Rutgers, Purdue, and Northwestern. But like 81, I know Penn State's a great defense. 81 rushing yards ain't going to get it done with the type of team we have. And like I said, the defense giving up 5 yards of carry. It's like, what do you do at that point? And another thing, Penn State, just more offensively, they were 8 for 14 on third down. So 57%, very respectable. The Badgers were 38% on third down.
I would also venture to guess that the context of that is that majority of Penn State's third downs were like 3rd and 4 or less because, like you said, they were averaging 5 yards a carry.
Yeah.
And clearly the Badgers don't have a game plan to stop mobile quarterbacks because like Pabula, whatever the hell that guy's name is, had the threat of running the ball and couldn't combat that at all. Fortunately, I don't think I was necessarily going to do that. I was going to line up with 2 tight ends and a fullback and run, tackle in between tackles. And there isn't a ton of threat, but we haven't seen anything encouraging from our D line.
I mean, Iowa's running for 209 yards a game.
Yeah, they're gonna get theirs. Absolutely.
Most in the Big Ten. Caleb Johnson's a fucking problem.
Yeah. I don't think Wisconsin's gonna stop the run. Like that, obviously you go into it saying like they need to stop the run. They're not going to. Like, yeah, it's just can they bend not break in the red zone type thing? If like can they do enough in between the 20s to force them to punt, or get it or something.
My thing is it could have been way worse. Katron Allen, I believe, he had 11 carries for 86 yards, 7.8 a pop. They give that dude the ball 25 times. Like, would have been way worse, I think. So, I don't know. I think we're saying the same thing every week. Like, we can't stop the run. Offense made stupid mistakes. Braden Locke made enough dumb decisions to cost us the game. He can't complete more than 60% of his passes. Like, it's just the same thing over and over and over and over again when we play a good team.
That was the thing I was pushing back on literally from the opening game this year when I said, hey, this MAC level team is getting pushed. They're getting this. Why are we running 2-4-5? I've kind of come around recently to 2-4-5, and I think it was because of that 3-game stretch. Now, obviously, we even myself, who got blinded last week and bought back in after I was 7-0-0, fading the Badgers this year on against the spread. I bought back in. That's on me. But I think a lot of it is like we get back to that run game. Like if you can't stop the run at any level of football, you're not going to be successful. I coached 6th grade. You've coached high school, Coop. Like it doesn't matter if it's youth, high school, college, NFL. If you're not going to stop the run, you're not going to win the game. So when you're giving up 5 yards a carry, and I went back and looked at it earlier, in the 3 games they lost, like yes, USC came back and they were throwing it all over the yard. They still ran for like 163. Might not sound like a lot, but for a pass-first team, 163, like 181 against Bama, 173 against Penn State, or somehow it was 160 or more on all of those teams, like, and almost 5 yards a carry, if not more. Like, if you are 2nd and 3rd and short, they're going to convert at a clip that, like, you're not going to be able to stop. And I think that's the part that gets frustrating is when the defense – this is like – it just seems like it's a typical Wisconsin defense because we look at it and – well, not a typical one like that historic team we had. But if you look at our defenses, like, we're always, giving up the pass, but we could stop the run. Now, what do we really hang our hat on? Because we looked, you said, 25 for 31, 80%.
Yeah, and we all sat here last week. Hey, if we make them throw against our secondary, like, that's going to be problems.
That secondary is going to, like, I mean, and I'm not calling Rico out or Forkerine or, like, but it's like, what do we have to, like, put our hat on? Like, we can't stop the run, and then when it's, and I know we're saying if premier passers, so when you look at USC, Bama, and Penn State, yes, they're above the rest. But if you don't think, like, the Big Ten's going to get to a point where they're not all that good, but it's like you can see Indiana has been revived. Illinois, week to week, looks like competent.
Are you saying Indiana's not good?
No, I'm saying they're good. I'm saying, like, they have a competent passing game. So I'm not saying they're Ohio State or Oregon or that. But it's like, could we stop we couldn't stop their passing game last year. That was jump balls to the big tall guy. But my point is this idea that we got to run the 2-4-5 to combat like spread offense and passing. Well, if they're going to just spread you out and run it down your throat and you can't stop it, it doesn't matter how high end your talent is if you're only going to have 2 down linemen. And I think the thing that I was going back and forth with somebody earlier today when they were saying, well, Penn State went a lot of 3-3-5, if that math works. Yeah, 3-3-5. And it's just they had twitchier guys. I'm like, well, they went 3-3-5 because Braden Locke threw it 42 times and we ran it 27 times. They're not going to be in a 4 down front or a 5 down front or even like a bear front if we're not going to run the ball. So if you're going to pass it 42 times, they're going to be in a spread. Like when you look at how many times did Penn State run it, how many times did Bama run it? If they're going to run the ball at you, you got to put the big uglies out there and let them get to work. And I think that's kind of the adjustments part is the first half, we have a good game plan every time by watching film. And then when it gets to the second half, like we're like, we don't know how to adjust.
No, absolutely. And it's just becoming more and more frustrating. With all of that said, Penn State's a great team. Are they number 3 in the nation? Maybe not, but we lost to a great football team. And boys, I don't know about Bowl Watch. I'm still nervous looking ahead to the rest of the schedule here. Like, are we better than Nebraska? I don't know. This upcoming week against Iowa, I don't know. Oregon's going to boat race us, and then we battle for the axe. So we'll see how we go there. But moving on to this upcoming weekend, we'll get into the Iowa game here. Iowa is 3.5-point favorites, and the over-under is set at 40.5. We can get to our picks a little later. As I mentioned earlier, just some quick Iowa thoughts here. They're averaging 209 rushing yards a game. Yikes. First in the Big Ten. I don't know what it is in the country. I just looked at the conference. Wisconsin has the 5th worst run D in the Big Ten right now. And then Iowa's star running back, Caleb Johnson, who I believe has almost double the yards. And not that Twee's been the starter the whole season, but I believe he has double the yards of Twee Walker and 16 touchdowns right now. So don't love how that lines up for the boys. Iowa's D, not what it usually is, I guess, or what it has been the past few years. I believe they're allowing like 315 yards a game right now. But in non-Iowa fashion, back to the offense, they're scoring almost 30 a game. Another thing to look at here, too, is this is going to be classic Big Ten football this week, boys. Locke versus McNamara is just the battle of the most below average quarterbacks we could watch this year. It's going to be incredible. So, Ryan, I saw you shaking your finger. Thoughts?
I don't think McNamara is playing. I think that they gave him the Warriors send-off where they say, oh, he's injured, but it's their way. They did the same thing, I guess. I was reading some Iowa stuff. They did the same thing with Spencer Petras when he was sucking up the joint. They said he was injured, and then they just benched him, basically. It was like a humble benching. I don't think McNamara
I didn't see that with his concussion. I didn't realize he was out.
I think Tat Gang is the quarterback this week making his first start.
Now I'm even more interested.
You're saying there's a chance.
I don't know what his name is, but he's got a 6 sleeve.
I don't like that. That.
Full sleeve. He's ready to party.
Yeah. But anyway, Ryan, what are your thoughts on the game this weekend?
So I looked it up. I was 16th in the country, which 16th may not be all that impressive, especially because, it's not top 10. But if you look at the Flyers above them, like the Armies, the Navies, the Tennessees, the Kansas States, Notre Dame, like historically rushing programs. So it's not like they're just falling behind. Nobody's going to touch Army at 359 yards a game. Like, goodness.
I love that.
But if you want to have a good outlook of how it looked, like earlier in the year, I'll circle back and take my own little victory lap where I said I was very nervous about how Western Michigan and that MAC team pushed us around.
Western Michigan's a good team.
Yeah, I'm looking at the numbers right here. They are 17th. Iowa averages 5.7 yards per carry. Western Michigan averages 5.5, 209.1 and 209.0. So they are both effective running the ball. Now, Western Michigan doesn't have the defenders that Iowa does.
Yeah.
So I think that game's going to be not as friendly. Being 6:30 at night at Kinnick, probably a little weather. Classic Big Ten Kinnick after dark. The boys better, put some extra Toradol in the bags because this one's gonna be a banger.
Also, I love when people refer if there's going to be a storm or something. Yeah, going to be a little weather. Yeah, no shit.
November in the Midwest.
Or when they talk about an injury, yeah, he's got a knee. I'm well aware he has a knee. What the fuck did he? What is injured with his knee? That shit drives me up a fucking wall, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
My optimism's fleeting a little bit, honestly. I still think that they're gonna be able to. I don't know. Assuming they're gonna take both Nebraska and Minnesota is kind of a stretch right now, and I really so this is one of those ones that they have to steal. I think if they want to get a bowl game, because I just don't know if that they'll be able to beat Nebraska on the road. But I don't feel good about this game at all.
No,
it does everything a little bit better than us. I feel like their offense has been more efficient this year, even though historically their offense hasn't been good. Their defense, they have a really good defense coordinator who's going to make adjustments and is going to know how to stop Phil Longo's offense. And if Longo doesn't adjust and if Tressel doesn't adjust in game, we're not going to have any chance to win the game. So my optimism is very, very bleak right now. You got to hope Braden Locke doesn't turn the ball over, and you got to hope that whoever they're playing at quarterback does turn the ball over.
Yeah.
Braden Locke's definitely going to turn it over. You just hope it's not in your end.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
First one to 14 wins this game. And the thing that I've been saying for a couple weeks now is I feel like this game is a really big litmus test for where we're at as a program. You can't compare yourself to the Purdues, the Rutgers, and the Northwesterns of the world because you should be beating those slapdicks around. You also can't, at this point in the rebuild, where if we look at it from an NFL perspective, in this part of the program build, the rebuild, you can't look at yourself as the same tier as Bama, Penn State, Oregon, or USC either. So I think Iowa, being a tried and true outfit, this is a very good litmus test to where you're at because the last two games, the last one under, I think, it was Jim Leonard as the interim, but with Graham Mertz and the boys, and last year, the home game where they scored 6 points. The last two meetings, not only did they lose both games, and they're riding a 2-game losing streak into the battle for that big pig or bowl. I can't remember what it is. Big bowl, I think, right? Heartland Trophy.
Yeah.
Heading into that game, the boys are averaging 8 points per game on offense. So 8, single digits, not 28, not 18, 8. They got a 6 and they got a 10 burger. So we're averaging 8. My math on my abacus says 8 points per game in the last two. So I feel like first one to 14 wins, and this is a good litmus test because if you score 8, which is your average, or 6 or 10, I don't see growth. So this is the game I've had circled for a while as the measuring stick.
I'm trying to convince myself. I'm going to go back to positive real quick here.
Positive, Jay. Love it.
Iowa really hasn't beaten anybody that good if you think about it. Illinois State, Troy, Minnesota, we don't give a shit about Minnesota. Washington's down this year. Northwestern's terrible this year. They lost to Michigan State on the road, but
that's a bad loss.
Michigan State's very good. They gave up 32 to them. So Aiden Childs is kind of trash. They scored 32. So maybe.
Well, they also have 3 40 burgers though.
Yeah.
We have 2 in 2
years.
The
details get in the way of my optimism, man.
It's every game they win, they're fucking, like Ryan said, put up a 40 burger.
They're going to boat race you or they're going to lose.
So,
but when they lost boat race.
They lost to Iowa State by what, 1?
1, yeah.
Here's their offensive output. 40, 19, 38, 31, 7 versus Ohio State. 40, 20, 40. So they've only scored in the single digits 3 times. One was Ohio State at Ohio State. One was the rivalry game against Iowa State, and then 31. So yeah, two games. Iowa State and Ohio State. It was the only time they scored under 20, and we were struggling to score 20 just in Big Ten play.
I wouldn't be surprised if we held them under 20. I just would be surprised if we scored over 14. So,
and two, just like you kind of touched on, right? Like going to Iowa, even when the Badgers had those great teams, where it's like, hey, we might make the playoff. We might make one of these. We're making New Year's Six Bowls games. Like, and Iowa wasn't that good. It's like it's Iowa. Like going to play at Iowa. I feel like that way with at Northwestern too. It's like I hate that for the Badgers. Like we always play like ass there. And so I hate that even more this year when we're playing like ass at home, on the road, in the driveway, in the parking lot. At
least we're consistent though. I've been asking to search for consistency for a while. We're consistently inconsistent.
Yep, just like you want to be. I love that out of a program.
I'm trying to be optimistic, Jay.
Fuck. I'm sick of this optimistic shit. I'm hurting over here. I want a good football team.
I'm hurt.
Thank God, dude, basketball's about to start. Can't wait.
They won.
The boys won. They got a little close today. Just box score watch or Twitter watching, really. Also, quick note: the first 4 games are on BTN Plus. Blow me, dude. I won't be watching any of them. I'm not getting BTN Plus. Get out of here.
Well, they're playing a Wisconsin directional school, Wisconsin River Falls.
Hey, you can only play who's on your schedule. We're talking about Iowa. Has Iowa beaten anyone? You can only play who's on your schedule.
That's just
but when those people are creating their schedules, then you.
Hey,
it's not a real game today, was it?
No, it's just exhibition.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank God.
They play Holy Cross next week for a real.
Yeah, game. I think on Friday, next Friday.
Yeah,
but the first game for the basketball team that's not on BTN Plus is against Arizona. I was like, great. First game I watch, we're probably going to get fucking boat raced by Arizona again.
Hey, it's a home game, though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Those are tickets.
Cool.
Cool. I could watch them, maybe lose at home. We'll see. I shouldn't be like that already with the basketball team. Season hasn't even.
I'll say they haven't even tipped off. They haven't even started the standings yet. You're already on my side.
Be positive, Brandon. Come on, one time. All right. Well, yeah. I feel like we're kind of all on the same page about this game. It's just part of I don't know. I kind of agree with Ryan. This might really show us who we are as a program. But it's gonna be a classic Big Ten game. Honestly, can't wait. Over under on punts at 10.
That's a good number.
I'm taking the over.
I'm going to take the over. If we don't, hold on. Can I revise your over under?
Sure.
Over under 10 punts and or turnovers. Because if
I'm hammering the over.
Well, I was going to say if Braden Locke throws a couple punts and the other quarterback throws a couple punts, I say I hammer the over. But actually letting the punter get some work in, I think the quarterbacks might be doing some arm punting.
Speaking of punters, I'd feel terrible if we didn't mention Mr. Bertram's this past week. Yeah.
That gave me hope. That gave me so much hope.
I'd love to see he got licked at the end of that play, though, dude. That was a fucking hit stick. That dude from Penn State was pissed the punter just did that shit.
That wasn't a called play, was it? That was just ad lib.
No, I think he saw that shit was getting blocked, so he sidestepped him and then looked up and was like, there's nobody out here. So
which I love. Hey, that's football IQ right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know what the defender just ran right by him.
He didn't lay out. He literally just was like,
yeah. It's like, dude, if you block the ball, you're allowed to fucking hit the punter. Do you not know the rules?
It's kind of a half-assed.
Well, I mean, anytime with punters and quarterbacks, everybody's always.
I get it. Yeah,
I can see why he didn't, but
yeah,
sweet move. Yeah, you could definitely tell the Sean Mormon or the Brian Mormon in him was strong on that one, not protecting himself by the sideline, and got a good Sean Taylor impression.
Dude, that's my favorite play Sean Taylor ever made. Just lighting up the punter in a Pro Bowl. God, he should be in the Hall of Fame. They should put him in.
R.I.P.
Anywho, yeah, R.I.P. I digress. Well, after all of our expert opinions on the games, what are you guys thinking here? for this weekend. Iowa minus 3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Iowa minus 3.5. Ryan?
Well, if you both are taking Iowa, I almost feel him. Are we still keeping track of these? Or are we gonna?
I don't think so.
I think Dylan gave up on that after week 1.
Yeah.
Well, if we're not keeping track anymore, then I don't need any to make.
I mean, I'm keeping track in my head,
Well, then,
and I don't believe I've lost. So there's that.
well, that's true. I'm 7-1-0 now. I'm gonna go Iowa and the under, just because I can see this being like a 17-13 game, and like that 3.5, it being like a 4-point game. I think Vacos got a couple of them in him, but I don't think we're finding the end zone more than once. And if we do, then I'm going to be like, that is the proof of concept to me that like, hey, we've got something going. If you can go, like, yeah, Iowa's defense isn't the best it's ever been, but they're never bad. They're just not as great. Yeah. So it's like, if you can go against a defense that's not as great and look competent, it gives me hope and, you know, that we're on the right trajectory. We go out there and we get another 6 or a 10, or, I mean, even if we get a 13 and lose, I'm going to be there. I might have to go on a mission trip to Nairobi.
Does wonders for you, I hear.
Pretty fun.
Jason, I was about to speak for all of us. I feel like we're all about to take the under here, right? 40.5.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'd love for it to be a shootout, but I don't think the Badgers will score more than, like you said, 16, 17 points. Like, that's if they can get 2 touchdowns. I don't know. That seems like a lot to ask of a team that looks like they can barely throw the ball past 10 yards and is averaging like a yard a carry.
Yeah, it's awesome. Love to watch it. Great product on the field.
Hypothetically, we come back next week and we win the game and it's like 37-14. What are vibes going to be like?
A little higher.
We beat Oregon.
This fucking guy.
This is the last game before we got one more bye. It's after the weekend. You trounce Iowa. You get ready for Oregon. You got 2 weeks.
You know what?
Like a bowl
we
game.
won't beat Oregon, but by God, that first drive is going to be fucking great.
That 47-yard field goal to put us up 3-0.
Yeah. Maybe with a fake punt in there. Ho, ho, ho.
Madison's going to be buzzing, dude.
I'd like to see it. You know what? We ran 2 flea flickers like week 2. We haven't run a single trick play after that. Like, come on, Phil.
At this point, let's pull some Detroit Lions. Let's get the big fellas involved.
Why are coaches and just studying what Ben Johnson does every freaking week and do something like that?
Dude, if I'm the Lions, I pay him whatever Dan Campbell's making. And be like, dude, like whatever you want to stay. Like,
and that's talking NFL. Big brain. That's our NFL talk for the night.
One thing here, I know we're kind of getting short on time, but I saw this. Ryan Herons tweeted it out, and I thought it was decently thought-provoking. Said he had a comment on their YouTube channel, Talkin Badgers. Check it out. I'm sure all who listen to us listen to them. But if you don't, you're missing out. You know who else would be 8-0 with Indiana's schedule? Wisconsin. And then so he just tweeted thoughts. Indiana's schedule: FIU, Western Illinois, at UCLA, Charlotte, Maryland, at Northwestern, Nebraska, Washington. Ryan, I'll start with you because you probably have the most off-the-cuff take on this. I'm just assuming.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they would be 8-0, of course.
No way.
You don't think so?
No.
Who are they losing to?
I think Nebraska and Washington.
Well, in Nebraska, we'll find out.
I mean, Washington's ass, but
I would love to say Wisconsin's 8-0, but just like Wisconsin slips up at like against teams that
it's like I just can't believe it. The thing,
I don't know that they'd be much better than 5-3.
Washington lost to Rutgers and Washington State, and this is like the Cam Wardless Washington State. They'd be 8-0,
and we just lost to a backup quarterback.
What, for Penn State?
I'm just saying
that's our backup. I don't care if they do 1A, 1B. Like, you only get one starter. This isn't baseball. We don't get 5.
You only get one shot.
So I don't care. A backup versus a backup.
I don't think we'd be 8-0. And also, I'm like I said the other week, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid on Indiana. I'm not here for the Indiana slander. Do you know their average margin of victory? Just take a guess.
33.
Ooh, you're close, Jay.
70.
32. It's like 32.4 or something like that.
Our average margin of victory is higher than our points per game.
Yes. I researched that the other day. Had me fucked up, dude. I didn't know what to do. And just their coach.
Neutral site bowl game, interconference bowl game. What's the line?
Wisconsin, Indiana?
Yeah. Neutral site. Would not take away the homes. Just neutral site. We're definitely dogs, right?
Indiana, I don't know, probably anywhere between like 10.5 and 14.5. Probably.
I think it'd be like 6.5 or I don't think it'd be more than a touchdown.
For Indiana, though?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Look,
we were 6.5 point dogs at home against Penn State.
Yeah, but Penn State, I think Penn State would destroy.
Yeah, Penn State is considered to be better than Indiana.
Okay, yeah.
So.
You can give me that, but I'm just saying, like, I think it'd be more than 6.5 at a neutral field against a pretty good team. But I don't know, yeah, they're boat racing people. That's the buzzword of the day on the podcast, boat race.
I love it.
Yeah, and I just love their coach. And not that I've given up on Fickle. I think he's a good head football coach. But Coach Sig from Indiana, did you see the towels they had for the fans at the game this past weekend? It was like the Marlboro Red logo, and it just said Sig.
I love it.
We need that.
Signetti, dude.
And then, you ever listen to the guy? He does not fuck around.
We could get those towels that just say team on it.
Now, I know we were talking about the competition.
I'd wipe my ass with that fucking towel, Jay.
I love Signetti. Anybody that has heard me on this platform or on Discord or Twitter, I'm a big Signetti guy. I think it's all going to fall apart at some point because it seems that.
Yeah.
But right now, let me ride the ride.
Here, so.
But listen to this. So remember, go ahead.
They graduate everybody. I'm pretty sure. Like everyone's gonna be gone next
year.
Yeah, but if they just load it up in the portal, what stops them from doing that again? That clearly they can identify talent. And before I get into this sweet math or sweet stat thing, when we talk about the portal and identifying talent, they're like, oh, well, he brought over all his players from James Madison. Correct me if I'm wrong. 2 years ago, that was FCS talent.
Correct.
So we have an FCS Heisman winner that has got one sack, or FCS All-American that is in. We were putting on a milk carton for a while. So come in here, nobody knows he exists. They go to Indiana, and all of a sudden they're 8-0. So I mean, all FCS talent isn't graded accordingly, but clearly he can develop. But listen to these numbers. So his very first game at Indiana, 31 points. And here's the following. So 31, 77, 42, 52, 42, 41, 56, 31. Those are Wisconsin basketball scores.
Yeah, 31, yeah. That's an Ethan Hatt Badgers team score right there against Rutgers.
But I'm saying, we talk about Nebraska, we don't know if we're going to beat Nebraska. They beat Nebraska 56-7.
They smoked them.
Goodness gracious. Maryland, all right, 42. Northwestern, we scored 23. We struggled a little bit. They went down to Northwestern and hung 41 on them. So same high school parking lot field. Yeah. I think, 6.5 to – I'd probably go 9.5 is the spread.
This is how bad the Badgers football team has at least me down this year. Is we just spent 5 minutes talking about the Indiana football program. Indiana. If I told you that 5 years ago, you would have punched me in the throat.
If we told that to people this season, they would have stopped subscribing.
Yeah, please like, comment, subscribe. All right, we'll end it. Or we won't end it here. The penultimal segment, or penultimal, I'm sorry. So we got a long-winded one from Badger Gator this week. I won't read this whole thing. That's one of those, I'm happy for you, or sorry for your loss, kind of I ain't reading that shit. I ain't got time for all that.
LDR. Too long, didn't read.
Cliff Notes. Do any of you hate the fact that Locke's brother is our 25 quarterback commit? And he kind of says here, I get wanting to have the kid's brother, he could be a stud. And if we get a quarterback in the portal, does he decommit? Does Locke leave? And it's just the portal era, obviously, with this we don't know what's going to happen with the quarterback room. But like, what do you guys think of that? Like, okay, like he's I believe our lone 25 quarterback commit right now is Braden Locke's little brother.
I don't mind it. I don't have any reason to dislike it. Like he's a bigger version of Braden Locke and supposed to be better. So I don't know. It's hard. Like I personally don't have any skill when it comes to evaluating 17-year-old high school kids. Like I don't.
Yeah, I can't do that anymore.
Other than what the rankings say or what people are telling me. Like I don't. Like sure, cool.
Well, like his thing, I guess I should have read more of this. That I
might see him in 3 years. Like cool.
Yeah,
like I don't.
But he was like, I get taking the kid brother if Locke was a stud or at least above average, so that he's happy and maybe little bro can follow in his footsteps.
But
Locke's
little bro
not
is
that
supposed
good.
to be better than big bro. That's why they have big bro. Like,
yeah, if my aunt was supposed to be my uncle, she'd have balls, dude. Like
I do like that one.
If we didn't know his name was Locke, would we care about?
No, that's a great point.
3-4-star quarterback. That's
a great point. Right yeah. Now.
But his last name is Locke, so you do have to factor those things in.
I just still don't care.
But it's still a package deal.
I mean, yeah, recruiting to me is like, cool. I wait till signing day, and then how are you going to do on the field? We signed a guy.
You're probably going to go try to get a quarterback in the portal next year anyway.
Absolutely. That'd be malpractice not to.
I think at some level, I'm all for it because with this scholarship change where it's like it's not really scholarship, it's just roster size. I feel like you have to take advantage in the most important position on the field where Wisconsin, like in that example that Badger Gator gave you, if Locke isn't the guy and he leaves, and remember Landon Locke, who is supposed to be better than Big Bro, is also coming off a torn ACL, and one of his good attributes is he could move. How is that going to affect him? Like most guys come back.
He's not going to play for at least. I mean, he's not going to come in and play at Wisconsin. Right?
I know. I saw Adrian Peterson almost break the single season rushing record off a torn ACL, so I believe anything is possible.
Yeah, especially with those Texas dudes, everything's a little bit different down there.
Probably same athletic ability.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
for sure. He should play running back.
You wonder? I think what if Braden Locke hits him with switches? Maybe that makes him tougher.
Yeah, as long as he calls him son when he does it. I don't know. I try not to be too inflammatory when we come on here, but
that's why we need that Toradol.
Yeah, I like Braden Locke. I think he's a serviceable backup. I think there's a role for him on the team.
That's all he is.
But I haven't even seen Landon play at Wisconsin, and I'm kind of already over the Locke experience. And I only say that because Nick Evers, Miles Burkett, Graham Mertz, all these guys Longo could have had. Like, I went through it, I think, on a previous show. There was like 9 or 10 guys that he could have had play quarterback here, and not one has been like, wow, that's a stud. So it's like, if you couldn't convince Mertz to stay here as a quarterback, I know that's a different situation, but you can't get Mertz and Burkett. And we took Milos and LaCrue and Locke and Lil Locke and Mabry and TVD and Tanner Mordecai. Like, at some point, I'm going to start losing faith in the quarterback eval. And it's like, if you're going to take, and I don't want to call him damaged goods because he's a 17-year-old young man that has a bright future ahead of him. But if you only take one quarterback in the 25 class who's coming off a knee injury, like, to me, I'm not calling it a fireable offense, but like, you have to have a conversation with your staff about like, hey, what is our backup plan? Because like, to Badger Gator's point, if let's say Locke doesn't get the job, like the sky falls, the season ends, we're 5-7. Even if we go to a bowl game because we got smart people, and you get on the APR rankings, if he leaves and you lose little brother, you have Mabry as your only scholarship quarterback on the roster. Is TVD going to come back? Maybe. I think we've seen enough of that. Could he be good in the year 2 system? Maybe. Who knows? But he's also going to be coming off a torn ACL. So, like, is he going to be his best version of himself next year? So it's like, what is LaCrue healthy enough to play? Or is he going to leave? Like, I can't imagine he stays 3-4 years without ever sniffing the 2 or 3 deep. So it's like, you really just have Mabry, like, and he's getting 0 reps outside of, some garbage handoffs here and there. Has he even thrown a pass?
I don't even know.
I think it's all just been here, Dupree or Dylan Jones, go get 4 yards. So it's like if you're banking your entire program on Mabry, like especially in this era where it's not contract based, it's just players can leave at any time. You're playing a dangerous game where it's like you may have to be forced to either play or keep Braden Locke just so your room doesn't crumble, and that's not a good place to be.
All right, quick question here. I know we got to get out of here. Just rapid fire answer. Of the proposed $22 million that each kind of school will have to pay athletes, how much of that goes to quarterbacks at a program like ours?
How much do I want, or how much do I think?
Think.
3 max.
I think they probably spend $5 million on the room, but I don't know how much that.
Yeah, that's
on a player.
Because I think you're probably, like Jay said, you probably got a 3, a 2, and a 1 in there, just so you can have a pipeline. Because otherwise, if you just pay one guy $3 million and then you have a bunch of slapdicks in there with it,
even that might be high, though. I mean, yeah.
I mean,
if he's a
Dyke's getting $3 million, but
Michigan's offering the number one recruit $5 million. I heard today.
that's
I get it's Michigan, but
yeah.
That's the going rate. So,
yeah.
I mean, I think Cam Ward was up around there, and I mean, obviously he was a German, but you got to pay the part.
Might win the Heisman though. Like, shit pays off.
I'd be curious what Shedeur costs if it wasn't his dad coaching him. Like, if Shedeur went to go play at Florida State instead of DJU, like how much would Florida State have to pay? Because he's a very good quarterback, but he's also is good because of like there's so much going on at Colorado. How good really is he? I would think you'd probably get Cam Ward money or more at Florida State.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be a top 10 pick, whether you want to attribute that to part of prime or not. It is what it is. Right. So, yeah, he'd be getting that kind of money. All right, before we get out of here, we got geography again this week. I didn't hear Jason had a report against me, so fake news added again. Geography fun fact of the week. Did you know there are 2 countries inside of South Africa, Lesotho and Eswatini? So I found that very interesting, and they're all part of, I believe, the South African Democratic Republic, like kind of that group or coalition, whatever you want to call them. But I was playing Global at work and couldn't figure out. I mean, I had like 45 guesses. This is probably a couple weeks ago. 45 guesses in this motherfucker. I had almost every country in Africa. And I couldn't figure out what one of these 2 countries were, so I had to Google it. And yeah, 2 countries inside of South Africa. So I thought that was interesting.
So it was like you have the shape of it, whatever shape South Africa is. And it's like 2 little. So it's like DC with inside of the United States, like 2 like.
Lesotho's kind of like right in the middle of South Africa, and Eswatini's on like the northeastern side of South Africa. I believe Eswatini borders other African countries, but
so it's like they got 2 Texases,
kinda,
where they're like, we're our own country, but we're still part of yours, I guess.
Yeah, basically. And I think Eswatini used to be a British colony. It used to be Swaziland, and I believe they like in the 60s they got their independence, or whatever. So there's a bunch of fun facts for the people today. Me just being a little nerd.
The more you know.
Yeah. But all right, everyone, for anyone who's listened for all 48 minutes, thank you for listening to us stumble, bumble, and rumble through this podcast. Hopefully Dylan's back next week so my dumbass doesn't have to host again. But if not, hey, we're bringing you content. We're for the people. So make sure we like, comment, subscribe. Thank you to everyone who does every week and all of our subscribers already. And we will see you next week. Now, Wisconsin.